It was a Friday night in September when Dad took me and Lily to Chuck E. Cheese. The place was absolutely nuts with kids screaming everywhere, those game machines going crazy, and that creepy giant mouse mascot waddling around, snapping photos with families. Dad told us to find a table by the play area while he got in line for pizza. Lily was practically vibrating in her seat, already staring at the ball pit, when this guy just walked right up to us. He looked like every other Chuck E. Cheese guy, donning the employee shirt, but something about his smile was creeping me out. "Hey kids, want to see some magic tricks?" he said, popping himself down on a chair without even asking. Lily's whole face lit up. Before I could say anything, he was doing that old coin behind the ear thing. He kept going, showing off those petty tricks, but something felt wrong. His smile never changed, even when he was talking, and he kept looking over at the entrance like he was checking to see if someone was watching. "I've got way better tricks out in my car, plus some special candy they only give employees. Want to come?" Every single alarm in my head blared. I told them we're good here, but he kept insisting. "It's right outside, parked by the—" "If you don't leave us alone right now, I'm getting my dad." I said it loud enough for people to look over. His friendly smile vanished, and his eyes went cold. For a second, I thought he'd throw hands, but he stood up and simply walked away. Dad showed up a couple minutes later, carrying our number thing for the pizza. Then Lily said she wanted to go to the bathroom, and Dad asked me to tag along. The women's room was down this short hallway away from everyone. "I'll wait right here. Don't talk to anyone and come straight back out."
"I'm 8, not a baby."
She rolled her eyes and went inside. I leaned against the wall and pulled out my phone. A minute went by, then another. When 5 whole minutes had passed and Lily still didn't show up, I went up and knocked on the door. "Lily?" I knocked again. My heart started pounding. I pushed the door open and nearly froze in terror. That trick guy had Lily's wrist in one hand, while his other hand clamped over her mouth. Lily's eyes were huge and utterly terrified. She was crying badly, but all her screams and sobs were muffled by his big palm. "Hey, let her go!" I screamed and threw myself at him. He was way bigger than me, but all I could see was Lily's wide, terror-filled eyes. I crashed right into him, trying to make him let go of my baby sister. He shoved me, and I went down hard, hit the tile floor, and felt pain shoot through my elbow. I yelped and tried getting on my feet, but couldn't. Suddenly, my eyes fell on his shoes. He was wearing regular sneakers with long laces, and I got an idea. He was too focused on keeping his grip on Lily and the door to notice me grabbing both his shoelaces. I hurriedly tied them together as he kept trying to prevent Lily from escaping. That's when the door opened, and a woman with her daughter walked in. "Help! He's trying to take my sister! Get my dad!" I yelled from the floor. The woman's eyes went huge. Still, she spun around and ran. The guy knew he was screwed. He let go of Lily and tried to run for the back door, but the second he took a step, his tied laces sent him crashing down. He went down so hard his head bounced off the tile. I jumped up and pulled Lily behind me. The man was trying to get up, fumbling with his shoes and swearing. Right then, Dad came bursting through the door with 3 Chuck E. Cheese workers and a security guard right behind him. The guard grabbed the guy before he could get his laces untied. He was fighting back, yelling that this was all a big misunderstanding, that he worked there, but the employees denied ever seeing him in their lives. Turned out he'd stolen that shirt from someone's locker in the back. The cops showed up fast. They took him away in handcuffs while he screamed about his rights. One of the officers talked to me, Lily, and Dad separately. I told her everything that happened. Turns out we weren't the first. The guy had been hitting different Chuck E. Cheese places across the states, doing the same exact thing. "Your son's quick thinking saved his sister's life. That shoelace trick bought just enough time for help to get here. That could have ended a whole lot worse," the officer told Dad. Dad hugged both of us so tight I could barely breathe. He didn't say anything, just held on while his shoulders shook. I realized he was crying. I'd never seen my dad cry before. On the drive home, Lily sat next to me in the back and held my hand. She hadn't let go since we left.
Larson, thank you for saving me.
Her voice was so small it made my chest hurt.
I was really scared,
I know, I was scared too.
but you still came to help me.
Of course I did. You're my little sister. I'd fight anyone for you, even if they're way bigger than me. She put her head on my shoulder.
You're the best big brother ever.
Dad looked at us in the rearview mirror, and I could still see his eyes were wet. Lily's 9 now, but she still won't go into a public bathroom by herself, and she gets nightmares sometimes about that night. But she also knows that her big brother's always gonna be there to keep her safe. And I would, no matter what, because that's what big brothers do. Protect our little sisters at all costs. I hadn't seen Maddie in almost 3 years when she texted me asking we meet up. We'd been tight in high school until life happened. She suggested Chuck E. Cheese of all places, said it'd be nostalgic. I showed up first and snagged a booth near the back. Maddie walked in maybe 10 minutes later, looking like she'd stepped off a runway with this massive diamond on her finger that kept catching the light every time she moved her hands. We ordered pizza and started catching up, but I noticed pretty quick that the conversation kept looping back to Ricky, her fiancé.
Ricky owns 3 car dealerships. We're exchanging vows in June.
She said, toying with the ring.
That's amazing. You must be over the moon. Over the moon? I'm set for life, Vi. Ricky's loaded and loves spoiling me.
Something about how she said it rubbed me the wrong way.
But are you actually in love with him?
I asked. Maddie's smile slipped for just a second.
Of course I am.
Before I could push back on that, this employee walked past us carrying a tray piled with dirty dishes. Maddie's eyes tracked him, then widened.
Jesus. Is that you, Nathan?
She called loud enough to make heads turn at tables. The guy stopped walking. I saw his face and immediately remembered him as Nathan, her boyfriend of 2 years during high school, whom Maddie had dumped right around graduation. Hey, Maddie. Nathan smiled softly.
Nice seeing you after so long at Chuck E. Cheese.
It pays the bills. He shrugged.
Of course it does. But what happened to all those startup ideas and yacht dreams?
My mom got sick, Nathan replied. I had to stay home and take care of her.
Oh, how noble.
Maddie taunted, then showed him her huge diamond engagement ring.
See this? This is what my life looks like now. I'm marrying Ricky Crawford. You've probably heard of him? Crawford Auto Group? Maddie, stop.
I tried cutting in, feeling embarrassed for both of them.
You know what's the difference between you and Ricky, Nathan? He's a winner while you're still here wiping down tables.
Nathan just looked at her for a second, then just nodded once and walked away.
Oh, God, that felt good.
Maddie said, settling back in the booth.
I can't believe I wasted 2 whole years on that loser. That was cruel.
I replied flatly.
Oh, come on, Vi. I'm just being honest.
Before I was about to tell her exactly what I thought of her honesty, the front door slammed open, and 2 guys in ski masks came rushing in, waving guns. Everyone started screaming immediately. Everyone get down! One of them fired a shot into the ceiling, and suddenly the whole place went dead quiet, except for some sobbing kids. Maddie grabbed my arm as one of the gunmen went behind the counter and forced the manager to empty out the register. The other one started making his way between the tables, demanding wallets, phones, and jewelry. When he got to our table, he pointed the gun straight at Maddie. The ring! Give it here! Maddie's other hand flew up to cover it.
No, it's mine. My fiancé gave me this.
The guy grabbed her by the hair and yanked her head back hard. Maddie screamed, but he shut her up with a hard slap across the face. She fell sideways in the booth. Stop! Nathan shouted as he approached us, with his hands raised. Leave her alone. Just take the money and get out.
Nathan, don't.
Back off, man. I'll shoot. The gunman swung the weapon toward him. "She's scared," Nathan said, still coming closer. "Just let her keep the ring. It doesn't mean anything to you anyway." "You kidding? It's worth thousands! Get back!" Nathan looked at Maddie, who was sobbing, still holding her face where she'd been hit. Then back at the gunman. "Take this instead. Just leave her alone," Nathan said, pulling off his watch. It wasn't anything special, probably worth about $50. The gunman actually laughed at that. "That's a piece of junk! You, girl, give me the ring!" He reached for Maddie again, but Nathan lunged forward, grabbing at the guy's arm. They started struggling, the gun waving around between them. Other people were screaming now, running for the exits. The second gunman was shouting something I couldn't make out over all the chaos. Suddenly, the gun went off. Nathan stumbled backward. His hand went to his chest. Blood started spreading across his shirt.
Nathan!
Maddie screamed. He went down. The gunman took off running. I dropped to my knees beside Nathan and pressed my hands against the wound, even though I could already tell it was bad.
Someone call 911!
I shouted. Nathan's eyes found Maddie. She was on the floor next to him now, sobbing, her hands hovering over him like she wanted to help, but had no idea what to do. "I'm sorry," Nathan whispered. His breathing was getting shallow. "I'm sorry I couldn't. Nathan choked before his eyes closed. The paramedics showed up maybe 3 minutes later, but there was nothing anyone could do. They pronounced him dead right there on the Chuck E. Cheese floor, surrounded by arcade games and birthday decorations. The cops took statements from everyone. They caught the gunman a couple of hours later, trying to cross state lines. Maddie sat in the back of the ambulance, with a blanket wrapped around her shoulders, just staring at nothing. I sat down next to her, and we didn't talk for a long time. Then, Maddie completely broke down.
I'm awful, Vi.
She looked down at her engagement ring, that massive diamond Nathan had died trying to protect. Slowly, she pulled it off her finger and just stared at it.
I lost a diamond while I was chasing gold.
She choked out. Maddie never married Ricky. She called off the engagement 2 days after Nathan's funeral. She said she couldn't marry someone she didn't actually love, not after seeing what real love looked like. She visits Nathan's grave every week now, but none of that can bring him back. It was a Friday in late March. I'd been at my buddy's bachelor party, bar hopping downtown until the places started closing. By the time I got to the subway station, it was past 1 a.m., and I was pretty wasted. The station was empty, except for the buzzing fluorescent lights that made everything look washed out. My train wasn't due for another 7 minutes, so I leaned against a pillar, trying to keep the world from spinning. That's when I saw him. Standing under a flickering light, on the opposite platform was this guy wearing a full Chuck E. Cheese mascot getup, complete with gray fur body and an oversized plastic rat head. But the fur was filthy, stained with what looked like oil or dried blood. The costume had tears in it, and the head had cracks around the mouth, like someone had beaten it with a construction hammer. He was just standing there, staring at me through those plastic dead eyes. I pulled out my phone and started scrolling on TikTok to ignore him, but I could still feel his eyes on me. When I glanced back, he hadn't moved an inch. Luckily, my train pulled in just in time. The doors opened and I stumbled inside, grateful to put some distance between me and whatever weirdo was playing dress-up at 1 a.m. Inside, the car was completely empty. I collapsed into a seat near the middle and closed my eyes. Right then, the doors beeped, and I heard squeaky footsteps shuffling around. I opened my eyes, and my blood went cold. The Chuck E. Cheese guy was in my car. When did he cross platforms? I brushed off, thinking he probably changed his mind, and eagerly waited for my stop to arrive. Soon, he would walk to a seat and sat down for maybe 3 seconds before standing up and moving to another seat, then another. He was getting closer to where I was sitting. The squeaking of his costume made my heart race. "Hey man, you got a problem?" I called out, suddenly pretty sober. My throat felt parched. Something was very wrong here. I stood up and moved to the other end of the car. Much to my horror, he followed with that awful squeaking. I could hear his heavy and wet breathing, plastic head as he kept hopping from seat to seat, like we were playing some sick game. Finally, he sat down directly across from me, close enough that I could smell the awful mixture of sweat and rot and something chemical that made my eyes water. He tilted his head at an unnatural angle till I heard his neck crack. I could see his real eyes now through the mesh in the mascot's mouth. They were bloodshot and wide, with pupils dilated so large they looked black. "What's your problem, dude?" I yelled, irritated and terrified at the same time. Right then, he reached into the costume's pocket and pulled out a dead rat. He dangled it at my face level for a couple of seconds, before he chugged it right at my face. The moment it hit my nose, I lost it. I shirked and jumped. My stomach lurched, and I puked my dinner all over the subway floor. All this while, he just laughed. The sound echoed off the metal walls until it sounded like multiple people were laughing at once. I looked up through tears and saw the next station approaching. The train started slowing down. He was still laughing, standing right behind me when the doors opened. I just stepped out when I felt a sharp sting at the back of my neck. I spun around to find him holding up a large syringe in his hand. It was half full of some clear liquid. He waved at me as the doors began to close and the train pulled away, carrying him back into the darkness. I stood there touching my neck, feeling a small puncture wound and a trickle of blood. What had he injected me with? I ran up the stairs, flagged down a cab, and told him to take me to the nearest emergency room. My hands were shaking so bad I could barely hold my phone to call 911. The ER doctors ran multiple tests. Everything came back normal.
You're lucky. Whatever was in that syringe doesn't seem to be affecting you. But we'll keep monitoring your blood work,
the doctor said. I filed a police report immediately. They said they'd check the subway security cameras, but the footage from that car was corrupted. I went home thinking I'd dodged a bullet, that whatever that psycho had injected me with was harmless, or maybe the syringe had been empty and he was just trying to scare me. Last week I was making breakfast, simple omelet with cheddar cheese. The second I opened the bag, my stomach turned. The smell hit me. I barely made it to the sink before I was throwing up. Must be food poisoning, I thought, or the flu. But then it happened again with a slice of pizza, and again with a cheeseburger. Every time I got near cheese, my body violently rejected it. I went back to the doctor. They ran more tests. Everything still came back normal.
It might be psychological. Trauma can manifest in strange ways. Your brain might be associating cheese with that incident.
But it wasn't just cheese I couldn't be near. Anything that reminded me of Chuck E. Cheese made me sick. The color combination of red and yellow made me nauseous. The sound of arcade games made my hands shake. I couldn't walk past the restaurant without having a panic attack. My therapist calls it PTSD, with a psychosomatic component. My friends think I'm making it up. The police never found the guy. But I know what happened. Someone targeted me that night, followed me onto the train, terrorized me, and injected me with something that changed me in a way doctors can't detect or explain. But the worst part is knowing he's still out there, hunting his next victim.